You think you have nothing to hide? Perfect. That makes you the perfect product. No suspicious history. No red flags. Just a clean, predictable, scannable identity. Welcome to Cybercrime Exposed Files, where we pull back the digital curtain on the shadow networks shaping your online life. One leaked fingerprint, one stolen voiceprint at a time. If you're new here, make sure to subscribe. Because once you know what's happened behind the screen, you can never look at a selfie the same way again. Disclaimer: this video you're about to watch is for educational and awareness purposes only. No illegal or unethical use is endorsed. Let's begin. You upload a selfie for your passport, or speak to verify your banking identity. You think it's safe, private, personal, but the truth? Your most intimate biological markers, your face, your voice, your fingerprints, even the way you walk, have quietly become the most valuable currency of the 21st century. A currency you don't control. And behind this invisible economy, a sprawling black and gray market that buys and sells your identity. Not your name, but you. To bidders you've never heard of, for purposes you'll wish you never imagined. Zara was 19, a university student in Bristol. She attended a peaceful climate march with a handmade sign and hope in her eyes. What she didn't see was the unmarked van on the corner, a camera mounted on top. Quiet, watching, recording. In seconds, her faceprint was captured, scanned, and run through real-time facial recognition software. She was added to a protester intelligence list used by local and national law enforcement. She never consented. She never broke a law. She just existed, on camera. But this goes beyond police databases. Who else is watching? Who else is buying? And what's in it for them? Here's where it gets disturbing. Who buys your biometrics, and why? 1. Surveillance tech companies. They build and train facial recognition systems. But they need raw data. Your photos, expressions, even blinking patterns feed the algorithms. They purchase from data brokers, scrape public platforms, and license massive facial datasets from marketing firms. This data is sold to police departments, border security, military contractors, authoritarian regimes looking to track dissidents. Why? To create profiles, predict behavior, preempt protests, control movement. 2. Insurers and healthcare providers. Ever heard of emotional scoring software? Insurers test your facial expressions during video interviews to assess truthfulness and risk. If you fidget or look nervous, even due to anxiety, you could be flagged, charged more, or denied. Why? To adjust premiums, to justify claim rejections, to detect dishonesty based on flawed science. 3. Employers and HR firms. Some warehouse workers are constantly filmed. Cameras track if they smile, how long they pause, or how engaged they appear. If your face looks tired too often, you might not make the cut for promotion or even retention. Why? To optimize productivity, to score applicants, to filter high-risk attitudes. For marketing and ad tech companies, you looked at an ad for 3.7 seconds. You blinked during a trailer. You showed surprise at a product reveal. All of it goes into a behavioral dossier, which is sold to advertisers and political consultants. Why? To tailor manipulation, to sell more effectively, or to shift your vote. 5. Financial institutions. Your voiceprint is now used by banks, fintech apps, and fraud departments. But what if your voice gets stolen? That's what happened to Ahmed, a freelance journalist in Istanbul. An attacker cloned his voice using AI. Trained on a public podcast interview, they tricked his bank's fraud system. And yes, the voice match was perfect, because it was him. Just not really. Why do financial firms buy this data? To enable frictionless identity checks. Ironically, it's also what makes identity theft harder to detect. 6. Authoritarian governments. In regions with limited privacy law, surveillance vendors sell full biometric kits. Faceprints, gait analysis, iris scans, bundled with motion profiling, often trained on data stolen or bought from Western platforms. Why? To suppress dissent, preemptively arrest opposition, control populations by prediction. Now imagine all of this interconnected. Your voiceprint, sold from a podcast you forgot about, ends up in a training set. That dataset gets acquired by a Chinese AI startup. Months later, that startup gets bought by a defense contractor. That contractor builds the system used at your country's airport. You walk through the gate, and the system recognizes you, but you've never opted in, never even heard of the companies involved. And here's the kicker. You can change your email. You can reset a password, but you cannot reset your face, your iris, your gait, your breath pattern. Once they're captured and commodified, they don't just become identifiers. They become assets. Assets that are analyzed, scored, cross-referenced, and traded, sometimes legally, often not. The consequences are already here. A job candidate was denied after facial AI flagged him as low warmth. A claim was denied because a voice system deemed the person agitated. Protesters were followed home after facial matches from surveillance footage. A teen's gait was linked to a shoplifting incident using a system trained on flawed, racialized data. These are real stories, not predictions. You're not just being watched, you're being interpreted. And that interpretation, it doesn't care if you had a bad day, if you're neurodivergent, if you don't smile enough, if your voice sounds tired after a night shift. The AI doesn't understand context. It understands scores. And those scores stick. People are fighting back. Some are creating anti-recognition glasses that bounce back IR light to confuse cameras. Others design clothing with adversarial patterns that fool algorithms. A few are building tools that add noise to voice samples to prevent cloning. In Illinois, the BPA law forced companies like Facebook to pay settlements for illegal biometric use. In the EU, GDPR gives you the right to demand deletion of your biometric data, but enforcement is slow, and globally, protection is mostly non-existent. So what can you do? Stay aware. Know your selfies, videos, and voice memos are potentially being harvested. Limit public biometric exposure when possible. Push for regulation. Support digital rights groups like EFF, Privacy International, or Fight for the Future. Ask questions. Who's collecting your data? What are they doing with it? Who are they selling it to? Because until we draw lines, your biology will remain someone else's commodity. If you're still here, you're ahead of most. But don't just watch, act. This isn't just a privacy issue. It's a power issue. And the less you know about who owns your face, the more control they have. This is Cybercrime Exposed Files. We reveal the hidden systems that shape your life without your permission. Subscribe, stay alert. And next time, we'll uncover how hedge funds, AI startups, and governments form shadow alliances to profit off your identity. Because in the data world, if you're not the buyer, you're the product. Cybercrime Exposed Files, signing out.